Spoilers and offensive content to come.
We are Carlos and Dave Anime Rave. We are the best something something in the something something. This probably is also going to serve as an interlude episode of the Two Fat Guys Talk podcast, since this is going to be an audio-only affair. I might as well throw this up on the podcast feed, because why not? I am Carlos.
This is Dave.
And today we are going to be discussing our thoughts, impressions, and I guess give our review about The Owl House Season 2. Now, you probably have noticed the loud fan-like noises in the background. If astute listeners of ours will know that for the last few episodes of various things we've done, we have been out on international waters. Now, the reason we escaped the Gargoyle Prison Island, and we've been out on a fan boat. Now, much like that Gargoyles arc where they were on a raft in the ocean, we've been visiting various places. We visited Japan. I told them how their culture sucks. They ran us out of town. We visited Australia. Dave told them their culture sucks, and they threw giant scorpions at us, effectively running us out of town.
The poisonous insects chased us out of town.
We went to New Zealand, which we thought would be a lot more tame, but it was too tame, just a little boring. We've been slowly trying to make our way back home to the beautiful, sunny shores of... And, that's our adventure. We certainly aren't just making an excuse because it's balls hot and we have fans going. No, we are on a fan boat in international waters. And while we've been here, we've been catching up on things, including The Owl House Season 2. Now, last we left you on Owl House Impressions, we had theories about, you thought Willow was going to be a traitor, I thought Amity was going to be a traitor. I still think Amity's a traitor, but we could talk about our impressions this season, which we've now seen in full. Dave, what did you think of Owl House Season 2, and how does it compare with things you thought were going to happen in Owl House Season 2?
Well, the show has kept things original, fresh. We're both wrong on our certain characters being traitors, because I think that ship has sailed at this point, and with the shorter Season 3 that we're going to get, I don't think there's time for any of the characters to be a new traitor.
No, there's time.
No.
There's time for Amity to break everyone's heart.
No, there really isn't. And she's just too horny.
She is so horny. She is so horny for Luce. Holy shit.
Yeah, so, no, it's not gonna happen.
I mean, they are teenagers.
Yes. No, I mean, Season 2 continued what Season 1 did. I mean, I think Season 2 was much better because we didn't have to have all the build-up of all the characters. We didn't have to have their background stories and everything else. We just got new stories continuing everything going on.
Boots on the ground, go!
And that's really what this season was. No, I've more than enjoyed it. I think the character I hated or I disliked the most was the house, Hootie.
Oh, Hootie.
But even Hootie grew on me this season, especially with the way that he and Lilith kept on dealing with each other.
Their friendship was pure and wholesome.
It was.
Lilith herself was a great redemption story, because not only did she make peace with the weird owl snake thing that she was scared of before, she also became something of a surrogate auntie for Luce.
Yeah.
And definitely made bigger and better strides to repairing her relationship with Ida. So Lilith is definitely a standout character in her few appearances this season, including one time-traveling appearance that had major ramifications for the lore.
Just a bit. Kind of set everything in motion, didn't she?
This was really the season where we fleshed out a lot of people's familial units, too.
Yeah.
We got to meet Amity's parents, and at first we thought they were both assholes, but it turns out really one of them's an asshole and the other just needed to talk to his daughter. We got to meet, I guess, Emperor Belos's family in the form of the Golden Guard, in the form of Hunter, who ended up being a big standout character for me, because he had such an emotional journey from being an antagonist to an ally. Even then, he's still hiding something from his new friends, but he's convincingly made friends with Luce and Amity and Willow and Gus. I especially like the connection he's made with Gus, and I like the fact that he's super horny for Willow. Because of course he is. Who isn't? Did you see the Willow fan service episode we got?
Yeah.
Where that whole episode was like, let's put Willow in gym clothes and have her jump around a lot. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty horny for a kid's show.
Can you really call Hunter Bellos' family, seeing as he's a multi-generational clone of one of his original friends?
How does that work? If I make a clone of myself, is that my son?
No.
But Dr. Evil considered Mini-Me his son.
You see, the whole idea of cloning and how it would work within societal units is its own... That's like an hour podcast right there on its own.
Yeah, because if you make a clone baby, is it your son or daughter? Well, son, in our case. But if you make a clone that's like just a copy of you right now, is that your brother? Or is it your weird kind of uncle niece? I don't know.
Well, and, I mean, science fiction has done a very good job of dissecting how society would look at that sort of thing from both a positive and a negative standpoint, usually in the use of organ harvesting or having no rights.
Oh, fun.
/ property. So
fun topics to be talking about on our Owl House review.
Bellos Bellos just considers Hunter his property.
Basically.
Something to be used and thrown away as Hunter develops morals.
Yeah, Hunter gave us something that we got a ton of this season. That's a lot of character development for almost every character. Hunter got development, Amity got development, Willow got development, Gus got development, Lilith got development.
I mean, the character...
Hootie got development, King got loads of development.
Yes.
Ida got loads of development.
Ultimately, Luce was the one who got the least.
I don't know if I said this in my Season 1 thing. I know I've said it to you outside of recording.
You didn't say it for one, because we didn't have...
The weakest link in this show is Luce.
On her own. Luce with other people is great.
Yeah, but
Luce on her own?
And this show wants to put her on her own all the time. I am at my least entertained when I'm watching Luce by herself, or when I'm watching a Luce-driven story. I am at my least entertained, because Luce just isn't all that interesting. I think the main characters of the Owl House should have been Willow and Amity, meeting the weird old owl lady, and their adventures being what repairs their friendship. And that's the journey of the show. You could still have the weird human that gets summoned from the other side, helping teaching them symbol magic. I just don't think that Luce should be the main character. She's just not that interesting for me. She's a support character in the main character role. And that's kind of the weakest link of the show. I've compared the show to Harry Potter. I've said this is better Harry Potter. I've said this about a lot of shows now that I think about it. But it has the same fundamental issue, and that's that Harry Potter just sucks. Like, the character. And he's surrounded by all these much more interesting people, at least one of which should have been the main character, Hermione. And in the Owl House, it's the same thing. Luce is out of place as the protagonist, and easily the weakest link in the show. In my opinion.
And yet still enjoyable.
Of course. I'm having fun with the Owl House. I had a blast with the Owl House. I love the revelations we got. We got some heartbreaking ones, too. Remember when King found his people, only to discover that, no, they hunt his people? King is actually a fucking titan?
Yeah, that was not a surprise, actually.
The Collector came a little bit out of nowhere, and I was a little worried the Collector was just going to be another Bill Cipher. But the Collector is a lot more innocent and childlike, despite having the devious powers set. I actually like the Collector. I think the voice they picked, really brings out that playfulness in him, but there's still that malice behind him. But not really, because he's just kind of a child.
Ultimately, the Collector reminds me of the child from the original Star Trek series, where he was stranded on a planet. The culture there gave him basically godlike powers, and therefore he had no morality or any filter on what they did. That is how the Collector is. The Collector is naive to the point that it let Bellos use him or her or it to...
No, not it, them. You don't want to say it as you're gender neutral.
Only reason.
Then again, it is just the collector.
The only reason I went there is because
I don't even know if this is an organic being or not.
The collector seemed to be an artifact that had a personality.
Okay, that's fair.
Therefore,
you know what? That's fair.
That's why I went it.
Yeah. Saying you aren't saying it to be derogatory.
No,
I understand that. I understand that.
I don't know if throwing in this cosmic being for what is going to be the last 6-episode finale here was such a good idea. I don't know if the collector was needed to introduce a bigger threat than Bellows.
Yeah, Bellows kind of seemed threat enough, you know?
He did.
Especially when we learned that he's a witch hunter from the real world. He's been trying to make his way back, and he even doesn't really want to hurt Luce in some weird kind of fucked up way, too. He was going to take the deal of Luce being his guide to the real world to leave his friends alone, until Luce turned it around on Bellows and made him part of a coven. But I mean, and obviously Bellows made it back to the real world along with them, as hinted at the end.
Yes.
But it kind of seemed like, I don't know, maybe they thought Bellows wasn't a big enough villain, so we need to have the Collector. It'd be interesting to see if the Collector was hinted at before, because with Bill Cipher was hinted at since episode 1 of Gravity Falls. So it wasn't a big surprise that he was the ultimate villain of the show.
I think there may have been subtle hints here and there, but here I feel like Disney may have pushed to have a Bill Cipher level character in this show. And it's unfortunate.
It would definitely be the right kind of executive meddling where they're like, hey, what worked about that last show? Oh yeah, they had this godlike entity that manifested in the real world, and it's like an evil genie. Yeah, do that again. Make us more money. That would be that. Then again, it could be that just Dana Terrace, this is just her story, and an unfortunate part of her not having confidence in her own villain.
Well, it just seems like all of the Disney shows we've been watching here recently have had some sort of malevolent entity like that.
Whatever do you mean, Dave? You don't mean Bill Cipher or the corrupted magic in Star, or the collected consciousnesses of the past, the core in
the core, yeah,
or now the Collector,
yeah.
Whatever do you mean? A big evil malevolence that permeates the proceedings.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
One of the characters I was glad to see that we got a little more character development on was Rain Whispers.
Well, yeah, Rain was a standout character too, because the show's playing coy with is Rain being controlled? Are they not being controlled? Turns out they were never being controlled, and a whole bunch of the fucking coven heads were actually part of the resistance.
Yep,
including good guy. Was his name Cyrus? The name of the blobby guy. The name of the abomination head.
Sorry, I don't have...
No, I don't think his name was Cyrus, but Darius, I think it might have been.
Could have been.
Yeah, because that's the name of that shmup series.
I think that was one of the 3, I think, that was on their side.
Yeah, but it all made sense in the end, when you see that he was blowing onto the tea, and he was defusing the spell. And
yeah, though I caught on to that an episode or 2 ahead of you.
Yes, you did.
That was funny.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, they were never being controlled.
Yeah.
They were just being a prick to Ida to make Ida stay away.
Of course, then, I mean, as you said, we got a lot more development on the family side. And yeah, Odalia? Was that...
It's so obvious that you have a list open in the audio. It's so obvious.
I am quite okay.
Yeah, I know the names of these characters.
I am quite okay for referencing them, so I don't be like,
Yeah, that's fair. You did improve. You're making an improvement. I shouldn't make fun of you for that.
But yeah, the mother is just...
Oh, she's a hardcore turbo bitch.
She is totally arms dealer evil.
Yeah, no, she's Raytheon, basically.
Yeah.
And it turns out the father, whose name I don't forget, but you have it handy?
Not on my list here, funny enough.
No, he ended up being the guy who realized that his daughter needed her father to listen more than to control her, right?
Yeah.
So that was good to see. It was good to see some some family values come out of that. This was a good season for Amity. I'm a big fan of Amity, and I didn't like that she was left out of the big finale last time. She certainly wasn't left out this time. She had entire episodes where she got to showcase her Avatar: The Last Airbender fighting style. She got even though she got kidnapped once or twice, she still kicked major amounts of ass, and now got to meet Luce's mom. Now, how do you think that night's gonna go? Obviously, the first thing that Camilla is gonna do
is
hug Luce, and then she's gonna say, "Get the fuck out of the ring, you kids! Get in here, dry off, meninos. We're gonna cook you some fucking paella or whatever the fuck she cooks." And by the way, we stopped there awkwardly, folks, because suddenly Dave's monitor grew really bright, and I think it's because I tapped something, and it scared the shit out of me. She's going to get those kids in out of the rain, and, they're going to get a change of clothes. The big question is, how long are they going to be in the real world?
Well, it can't be long. And, okay, so Bellows, we can figure, is from the days of the Crusades, of the witch hunts, in the real world.
The witch burnings in Europe, which ended a little bit before the witch hangings in the Americas.
I actually read a very interesting stat on that. Did you know that of all the witch burnings that ever happened, the 14 quote-unquote witches who pled guilty never got burned at the stake or executed?
Yeah, you want to know why? Because I actually listened to a last podcast on the Left episode about the Salem witch trials not too long ago either. And a similar situation there where the ones who pled guilty, a lot of them never actually faced that harsh a judgment. They served a normal prison sentence because they used them to condemn others and to make their bullshit witch hunting seem more credible. So it makes sense. It's fascinating, but it makes sense. It's evil as shit.
Evil is all shit, don't get me wrong, but that was one of the few stats on the witch hunts that I had never heard before, was that pleading guilty actually didn't lose you your life.
Shout-outs to Last Podcast on the Left, one of my favorite podcasts. True crime, historical weirdness, conspiracy theories. A lot of them I don't believe, but the three comedians who run that show make it too much fun to listen to.
Fair enough. But anyway, Bellows is now going to be in modern day, and he's going to be even more out of his element than he was back in...
He's going to look at a fucking cell phone or a car and think it's witchcraft. Science has evolved so much since his day that the world is going to look alien to him.
A lighter he's going to figure is magic. It's
that's probably going to be his arc.
Yeah,
he's gonna somehow reconstitute in the real world in a body. He's gonna get away from Luce or something, and he's gonna see the world, and he's gonna realize things changed, and they're no different from what I thought was witchcraft. Who the fuck am I? That's gonna happen to him. That's gonna help to Philip Whittabane or whatever his real name is.
It very very well could be. It's just. He's going to be a man out of his time.
Yeah.
Even more out of his element than he was...
Yeah, in the Boiling Isles.
Thank you. In the Boiling Isles.
Didn't have that on your list, did you?
No, I didn't. So I figure that's where that's going to go. I figure they're going to spend 1, maybe 2 of those 6 episodes in the real world, and then they're going to have to go back. Because there's not all... Unlike Amphibia, there's not all that much to do in the real world.
Well, we don't know that. I didn't know there was going to be all that much to do in the real world in Amphibia either, and that was the show for a fun half a season. Actually, I enjoyed the part they were in the real world in that show.
Absolutely, and if there was a full season coming up, it would be different. But there's 6 episodes. It's the whole Yuki Yuna thing again.
Which we're going to talk about soon. We're going to talk about soon.
You know you've got a limited amount of time to work with, so trying to figure out how little time needs to be spent in certain places is aggravating.
My theory for how they get back to the Boiling Isles is because King said it was a game called the Owl House. They're going to get back there through a computer game somehow. Somehow the Owl House is going to become an MMO, and it's going to become even more of an isekai than it already is.
Maybe it could just be that the door is able to open back up because Luce has more power on the real world side than she does in... I think
at the moment she has none because her symbols don't work in the real world.
The symbols don't, but...
Her friends do. They have magic.
Yes, because they have the whole organ thing.
Yeah.
But
they have an extra skivverd.
Yeah.
I made that name up. I don't know if that's what it's called.
Blue
bark.
It's going to be Luce who fixes things.
Of course it's going to be Luce. She's the main character. She's going to fix everything. Which is, again, part of the problem, but that is what's going to happen, no doubt.
I mean, the question is going to be, is this show going to end with Luce being able to go back and forth? Is she going to stay there, or is she going to come home?
It would be a little heartbreaking. The thing with Amphibia is that it was heartbreaking that they had to say their goodbyes. Although, given that the future is still open for debate as to what happened.
Yes.
Right? But it's not like Anne and Sprig were in love. They loved each other as siblings, for sure. And they like, Anne is effectively a planter at this point. And all those human characters love the characters on the other side, but none of them were in a romantic relationship, and that's the kicker here, is Luce and Amity, right? And so that's going to make a goodbye too heart-wrenching than I think Disney or Dana Terrace wants to do. So I think it's going to be another Star versus the Forces of Evil situation where there's going to be some solution that merges the worlds.
Possibly. Though that's another trope that they're starting to use more and more.
Oh yeah, that happened in all of them. The weird fantasy world invading reality. This has been a thing all the way back since Digimon. Yeah. It happened in Gravity Falls. It happened in Star vs. the Force of Evil. It happened in Amphibia. It happened here, right? So it's a fun thing to play with. So you don't just get to have an adventure in another place. And when you come home, the adventure comes with you.
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse, yeah. Well said. But I enjoyed Owl House Season 2. I look forward to more later this year. Any more thoughts on this one?
No, I just hope it keeps the quality that we've gotten used to.
I hope so too. Folks, what do you think of the Owl House Season 2? Let us know in the comment on this video, or go to our website, animerave.xyz, and leave us a voicemail. We are currently of Anime Rave / Two Fat Guys Talk. We are the best something ever in existence. Goodbye.
Tune in next time.